Measure Z Advisory Committee meeting. I'll call this meeting to order. Please join me for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
All right, good afternoon, Chair. Mr. Cole?
Present.
Ms. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Campbell?
Here.
Ms. Trent?
Here.
Mr. Fierbend?
Here.
Chief Pape?
Here.
Sheriff?
Here.
Ms. Long?
Here.
Ms. Titus?
Here.
And Mr. Dawson?
Present.
All present and accounted for.
Thank you. Any modifications to the agenda?
Nope.
None? Okay. Approval of the March 5th action summary. Do we have any public comment on this one? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Is this just a, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Public comment on non-agenda items. If anybody has a comment on anything that is not on the agenda, now is the time. How about on Zoom? No? Okay. County Administrative Office updates.
Not much for you today, committee. The only thing I will update is the amount of funding that is being requested after some of the discussion from last week. Right now, there is $2,093,378 or $278 being requested. As a reminder, we have $1.65 million to be recommended for allocation, which means that there is $443,000 over the amount that is available being requested. That's all I have for you today, Chair.
Okay. And the next item is discussion items. Let's see, each applicant will be able to come up in the order of the applications and will be asked to make voluntary reductions first. And then after that, the committee will have an opportunity to ask questions. There may be the same question asked more than one applicant, and if you don't feel it applies to your application, just say so and we'll move on. Sheriff, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I apologize. I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I just want to recognize that obviously the committee members can ask questions of the applicants. It's within our duty to do so, to verify that people can, just whatever may be on our mind. But there was a couple questions that were posed regarding immigration. So I want to address those on behalf of the Chief Law Enforcement Agency of the county. And because I feel like it's something that, again, universally is on people's minds. But as far as how it relates to these applications, it's going to be up to each individual to determine if that's applicable or not. But one of the questions was, if a law-abiding resident feels threatened or endangered by ICE or Border Patrol, what should they do? The advice of anyone in law enforcement should be, we are going to tell them to follow the law. Okay, we are required to follow the law. We're going to ask our citizens and people that are here in our county to follow the law. That is what is necessary, and that's the only advice that we could give people, is to follow the law. And are you initiating training and protocols for your staff regarding potential interactions with federal agencies while on 911 response calls? So we interact with federal agencies, and if we're talking about immigration, if immigration does come to our county, which they will from time to time have business here, we will not interfere with immigration enforcement. We will not interfere with them doing their job. And we have training protocols, and we have policies and procedures that we follow, in our police departments and sheriff's office and law enforcement agencies. We have to follow the Trust Act, the Truth Act, SB 54, and the Sanctuary Ordinance. All those things are very important to us. If we do not follow those, then we are breaking the law, and we become the criminals. And so we will not do that. And so we have no law enforcement agency here has a mechanism to run anyone's immigration status. That is not our job. We don't verify immigration. We don't track immigration. It's not a checkbox on our form whether or not someone is in the country legally or not. And so it's very important that, again, everyone understands that and knows that as far as law enforcement goes. We're doing our best to educate the public regarding that because we want everyone to feel free to call 911 if they feel that they are in jeopardy for one reason or another, and for them to know that they're going to receive EMS, fire, or law enforcement services regardless of their immigration status. That's very important for all first responders. So I think it's important that, that being said, if you feel like adding to that, obviously you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to say ditto to what I said, you can do that as well. But I just want to again, let everyone know as far as from my perspective, some of the answers to the questions. And that also is the response from DTF.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Sheriff, may I ask you a follow-up question?
Yes.
We live in an extremely different time than we did a year ago. And on that line of questioning, my curiosity and the conversations that are happening in my community are what then happens if local law enforcement witnesses federal agents, ICE or Customs Border Protection, operating or acting in ways that are not within the framework of our law system, or doing something that would be considered illegal. As citizens, we don't necessarily have recourse, and so the curiosity is, what are the protections?
Right. So if law enforcement sees, we have a duty to intervene. So if we see and experiencing someone, let's say another law enforcement officer using excessive force, it's our duty to intervene in those circumstances. That's part of our job, as part of our policy to do that. And so to do anything different would be a violation of our policy. And law enforcement agencies, federal law enforcement, it is our understanding that they will follow the law. If they don't follow the law, that is something that is going to be an exception to what we believe that they will do. And again, they're operating under federal law and their statutes and what they are mandated to do under their code and their law. And so we're not going to interfere with that. But if they do break, a law or something to that effect, of course, we will look into that, and we will refer them to the right channels because, again, no law enforcement agency bats 1,000, right? They have people in, they're human, and they may break a policy violation, they break a law violation. There's mechanisms to investigate those things. There's mechanisms to, complain, and for those complaints to be properly investigated, and for discipline to actually be taken against, the person that's, breaking a policy and breaking a law. Nothing happens overnight. Everything is properly investigated, and justice takes time. And so there are mechanisms to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll start with our first applicant, Fortuna Police Department. Please first state whether you will take any voluntarily take any reductions.
Hello. Thank you, Sheriff, for addressing these questions. In regards to voluntary reductions, in the application, it has a mechanism where it does ask those questions. We had listed in there that we would be willing to take 17,500 out. After looking at all of these applications and sitting here, it's like, I'm certainly willing to bump that to go back and take the hit for, taking even 20,000 out. I'm looking at this, I watched Boys and Girls Club get up here, talk about the importance of teen court, Drug Task Force, Arcata Police Department, all these other agencies. I do think it's appropriate that we drop our ask by 20,000.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that include overtime as well? Are you-
There is a partial mechanism of overtime in there under the salary. Yeah, there's overtime in there. It equates to, I went and asked the finance director, he said it equates to approximately 275 hours of overtime for a year, which is a little over 2.5 per week, currently what's in there, yeah.
And is that because of the schedule the SRO is going to be on, that they're automatically going to have that overtime, or is that an elective kind of a thing?
It's an elective. If, for instance, I mean, you're very familiar with if somebody's assigned certain hours and they need to come in and work something off hours, that based on our current union, our MOUs, we're not able to say, hey, we're going to flex your shift, unlike us in management, have a little more flexibility. When it comes to those positions, it's if they're working after hours, if they get called out on a threat to a school or assault case that involves a juvenile or something of that nature, that's where the overtime comes in, yes.
I got you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, and it's along the immigration lines.
Yes, sir.
I'm curious, if faculty or students within the school systems they serve, would this position be a resource for response for those communities, and how would they be contacted?
So all the schools have a direct line to the school resource officer through dispatch, through our center, or through the school officer's cell phone. We prefer that parties go through dispatch if it's any type of call for service, emergency type situation, so that way the rest of us are all aware of the call that's occurring. But the school resource officer does get text messages, phone calls, hey, when you get a chance, can you come by and help mitigate the situation? And certainly the school resource officer, if those fears exist and the things that the sheriff just explained need to be explained or talked to in a way that a juvenile or school staff member needs to understand that or might have questions, the school resource officer is a resource for that and can talk and definitely help out there, help ease some of those tensions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
You have a question, thank you.
Yes.
I know the SRO does a lot of important work, and it goes across 15 schools, various cities. But I was curious in terms of the school resource officer has been being funded by Measure Z since the inception of the Measure Z. So what other outreaches have been done to look for other funding? I know Fortuna has some restraints right now on funding, but have you looked into federal funding? Like there is a program called the COPS program, also known as CHP.
Can you pull the mic towards you?
Yes, yes. Here we go. So there's a federal funding program called the CHP, COPS program, to prevent, it directly funds school violence prevention program. Are you familiar with that? Have you looked into that funding?
Yes, and I appreciate the fact that some of these questions were emailed in advance so that
Sure.
could be prepared for these. And I'll kind of, if you don't mind, I'll elaborate on some of the stuff to help provide a little more conceptual information here. It was brought up regarding the SVPP, the School Violence Prevention Program, through COPS. And to my knowledge, that program there is for equipment and technology like cameras, locks, things like that, not personnel. In regards to the COPS grant, our former chief did apply for funding for a COPS grant, not specifically for the SRO, but it was for personnel. We did get awarded that grant. We were unable to utilize that funding, and we had to basically say thank you, but we can't do that. And one of the reasons is the COPS grant requires that we are full staffed, that it can't supplant any other positions in our existing budget. And when you're down-staffed, they look at that as an opportunity basically to take their money and not use your own funds. And to put that in perspective, we all struggle in public safety with staffing, so it's very difficult to use those grant resources Currently, we are down 4 sworn positions. With that, though, I would like to mention that throughout the inception of this entire program with the SRO and our partnership that we have here, because that's what it is. We couldn't pull off the Eel River Valley School Resource Officer without us as Fortuna PD making that commitment and you as the Measure Z committee making that commitment to help all the communities and everybody out there. So through that, we have, even with the staffing, we've maintained our SRO position. We even had a prior SRO get nationally recognized, as well as, you know, when a current SRO left, went to another agency, we immediately cycled in. The best candidate was one of our sergeants into that position and made sure that they were dedicated to that position. That's a priority to us, that we keep that staffed, that we utilize the funds for what they need to be utilized for. Alternative funding, I would love to say that I have the time to aggressively go after funding. It's not the reality of things. I know that within the questions, there was also questions related to larger scale grants, you know, partnerships, consortium type thing with all the school districts and Humboldt County Office of Education. And the school resource officer, they're not equipped. Fortuna Police Department in its current state is not equipped to spearhead or lead any of those programs at this time. We're definitely willing to help if that's something Humboldt County Office of Education wanted to tackle and take on and support that. But for us to spearhead and lead those large-scale $7 million grants that, you know, enhance mental health, help, and all these things that work with the school resource officer, we'd love to. Grants, we're completely open to it. It's just that it does come with a lot of fine print and contingencies that have proved very difficult. And Measure Z's been it's been our lifeline. It's basically been our way that we can keep this going. One year we did not have funding, and we had to fall back onto the city, and we were able to use some reserve funding from one of our measures to at least get us through to where we could apply again. I know the city is exploring another future tax measure, but financially, yeah, things are hard, and I think it's a benefit to hits the ballot measure, and our partnership is definitely a benefit to many communities and the county as a whole. Hopefully that addressed your question, sir.
I do. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I have one more. Is the reason that the school resource officer can serve all of the Eel River Valley is because it's funded by the county?
Yeah, I would have a difficult time justifying to my city council off of our internal city funds when have hiring freezes and we're stretched to say I'm sending my officer into the county to help with things. Yeah, we can help as a mutual aid type thing, but on a regular basis, that's quite an uphill battle and a challenge that I don't think I would be successful in.
Thank you. Okay, I guess that was all the questions we had for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the consideration.
The next one is the Boys and Girls Club of the Redwoods Teen Court.
Hello.
Hi.
Just pulling up my notes and then I'm ready for you.
Hey, can you first state whether you can take any voluntary reductions?
Yes, so in the proposal, we did say that we'd be willing to accept 5,000 less, so a total of 15,000. I will say that will significantly reduce the services that we're already going to have to minimize. So it's not something that I'm hoping for, but if we have to, absolutely, we can reduce a little.
Okay, thank you. Does any of the committee have any questions?
Chair, I have a question. The funding wouldn't probably, if you were approved for funding,
the Board of Supervisors, July 1st is when that comes through. Would you be able to survive until then in the Fortuna branch that you were referencing in your original, until July, August, maybe September?
So this funding won't cover the Fortuna branch at all. We are
Okay.
pursuing other avenues to hopefully fund that program, but this is specifically looking for our Eureka programming because both are at threat right now. If we have to close one, we're going to close Fortuna because it's not as established. It's still a newer program. Did that answer your question? I feel
It
like there was
does,
another
and
part I
this
answered.
money being asked for is still going to come with reduced services from you as well, even if you do receive this money, correct?
Yes, unless we can find additional funding, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next one is Department of Aviation.
Good afternoon, Justin Hopman, Director of Aviation. Yeah, we're willing to take a cut. Our project is more than funded by the FAA. It's $1.2 million we get from the FAA. Our local match, we would be grateful for any assistance. There's a lot of deserving projects here, and we're not trying to take it all. So more than happy to share. I mean, we can cut it in half, whatever we need to do.
Okay.
The truck's going to get purchased regardless. It's on the way. So.
Okay. Any questions from the committee?
So on your turnouts that you requested, are those special turnouts or can you just use any fire department turnouts?
No, we use standard structural bunker gear. A lot of airports use the aluminized proximity gear. It's kind of, they're going away from that. They're very expensive. They wear really easily. So we use standard structural gear.
So if other fire departments had extras and were willing to give you the
Sure.
4 you need,
Sure.
would you
yeah.
be open to that?
Sure, we would, definitely.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I've got one. When would this match be needed for that truck?
Not till the end of this calendar year. The truck gets delivered in December.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next one is Hoopa Valley Tribal Police. Are they online?
Hi everybody, Chief McCovey here. I apologize for not being there in person. We had a traumatic event recently here in Hoopa that needs my direct attention addressing the tribal council and public. So I apologize for not being there. I would be able to reduce my amount. I'm asking for $84,506. That's for a vehicle and the upfitting for equipment. Including lighting, emergency equipment, radio. I can reduce that, removing the cost of equipment by $16,275. That would just leave the amount for just the purchase of the vehicle.
Okay, thank you. And is there any questions from the committee?
I do have a question. Sorry, and it's along the immigration lines again. I apologize for repeating myself. But I'm curious, would this asset be available for 911 response? And if so, would this vehicle be available to respond to individuals feeling threatened or endangered by any Customs, Border Protection, or ICE operations?
Yes, definitely. We would be able to respond. I plan on having one of my cross-deputized officers that's crossed with Humboldt County Sheriff's Office, so they would be able to respond anywhere within Humboldt County if requested by the Sheriff's Department. So I would definitely be able to respond to those calls.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Go ahead. Oh, I thought you were pointing to somebody. trying to figure out who you're pointing to. Go ahead.
Chief, if you didn't get the 16,275 for the equipment for the vehicle, would you still be able to operate it as an emergency vehicle, and would it be efficient? And it just doesn't seem like it would be as useful if you didn't have the equipment necessary to answer the emergency calls.
No, it wouldn't be very effective at all. I mean, we would have to definitely look for other resources to outfit it, but it wouldn't be able to respond as a emergency vehicle or be like the visibility of an emergency vehicle as well. It would need emergency lighting, details, graphics, something on there that would indicate that it is an emergency vehicle.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to Arcata Police Department.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. At this point, we're not looking for a reduction, and I think I may be able to provide a little bit more context in my response to the questions that were sent to me preemptively. So thank you for the opportunity to follow up on our juvenile diversion counselor proposal and to address the questions raised after the last meeting. The City of Arcata currently funds one juvenile diversion counselor position locally through Measure H, which voters approved in 2024. That funding allowed the city to maintain the core diversion program when prior Measure Z funding ended. However, that local funding supports only one counselor, which limits the geographic reach of our program. Our Measure Z request would allow us to restore the second counselor and back to that existed previously when there was Measure Z funding. That would allow us to again serve youth across the broader northern Humboldt coastal region rather than being limited primarily to the city of Arcata. In addition to Measure H support, we continue to pursue and leverage additional outside funding sources to strengthen and sustain the program. This includes a Board of State and Community Corrections Title II grant that helps support the Parent Project Family Intervention classes specifically. However, that funding ends in fall of this year. So together, these funding resources help ensure that the program is supported through multiple funding streams rather than relying on a single source. So as far as the amount requested, that is the minimal amount to staff a second position to expand the program to its formal scope as it was intended. Otherwise, the program would remain in its reduced capacity, serving primarily the city of Arcata. Regarding the second question about how many schools we served in the past year, so the diversion program worked directly with schools within the Arcata School District and the Northern Humboldt Union High School District, including Arcata High School, McKinleyville High School, Pacific Coast High School, Sunnybrae Middle School, and several Arcata elementary schools. Thank you again for the opportunity to provide that clarification, and happy to answer any additional questions.
Okay, do we have any additional questions?
I just want to know, so are you serving the middle school in McKinleyville?
I'm sorry, the middle school?
The middle school in McKinleyville, are you serving them?
Currently? No.
So just the high school?
Correct.
High school, those
Yes.
three, okay.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Question. How long now have you been down to the one position? How many years?
It's probably been 1.5 to 2 years.
Like,
Go ahead, Sue.
Would it, if you only had partial funding, would you be able to hire part-time, and does that help your program at all?
Well, currently, we do have our core counselor reduced to part-time while hiring somebody to backfill her position. She's leaving to, she's taking another job. So is the question, would we be able to hire part-time instead of a full-time?
Yes.
I think the answer to that is it would be difficult to deliver the broad scope of the program with a full-time and a part-time. So we would be seeking two full-time positions.
Thank you.
Any
have a
other-
question.
Okay.
Would, and it's again on the immigration
Sure.
Topic.
Yeah.
Would this position be able to engage and/or educate staff or students on their rights or expected behavior during a ICE or Border Patrol operation?
I think so. So the Arcata Police Department understands that the fear of immigration enforcement, both locally and nationwide, is of great concern for the community of Arcata. And we take every opportunity to deliver the message to our community members that the Arcata Police Department does not engage in federal immigration enforcement. We don't ask people their immigration status, and we don't participate in immigration operation activities. So this is consistent with California state law, city ordinance, and department policies. So in delivering that message to community members, I think it's a natural extension to have our juvenile diversion counselor provide that same messaging to families in need.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I just add to that? Thank you, Chris. Did a great job. Also, Humboldt County Office of Education has worked with law enforcement and the schools to provide a flyer. And it's on most schools' websites, if you didn't already know that, that provides information of what people's rights are when it comes to immigration enforcement in schools, what the schools can do, and what the expectations are, and what the current law says. It's based upon obviously the law, but also ACLU also was a part of that. So it is a publication that explains the law very, very well.
Thank you. And I just want to add really quick, like, I don't want to be asking these questions, but these are the conversations that are happening within my community, and I feel it's my responsibility to give them voice in this forum.
Sure. Yep. And that's a part of education too. So what we want to do is as much as possible provide education to the public. An educated public is, is better informed and understands of what the law says, and then how we can work within this environment. So these are all good questions, and we want people to again pass on this information.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee? Okay, we'll move on then. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
The next one is North Coast Rape Crisis Team.
Hello, and thank you again for this opportunity to come back and clarify some things. With the prepared question, I just want to say, yes, we do serve the entirety of Humboldt County through the Child Abuse Services Team. Any law enforcement agency and tribal partner is able to refer cases to that program for an interview, and we'd be happy to accompany any family with sexual abuse cases to that interview. And we often travel outside to meet those families in their jurisdictions and in their homes to provide resources in that moment and transportation to and from those CAST appointments, or gas vouchers and other assistance. And part of our ask, we would be willing to take a reduction of about $32,000 for a total ask of $25,900. That reduction would directly cut into the basic needs and assistance we're able to provide families, which would mean that children wouldn't be able to get their mattress replaced if they are in a low-income household and were abused in that bed, or the amount of gas or food assistance available for them per quarter would go down, or we might not be able to provide them a Ring camera because our funding for that quarter for cameras has run out. So it is a big part of our ask and will be greatly appreciated, but we can seek funding for it elsewhere if necessary.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next one is Humboldt County Drug Task Force.
So I can speak on that. One of the questions that was asked is this a new hire, essentially? Is this position for the property tech? And no, it is not. It's an existing position. It's basically paying for about half, 3/4 of one of our property clerks at the sheriff's office. And that's currently a position paid for out of the drug task force.
I have a quick question. I want to thank you for proactively responding to kind of my overarching question.
Yeah.
Even though it really wasn't necessarily specific to the ask of this application. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
One thing I am curious about within the application is there's an amount allocated for evidence processing and storage. Is that specific to drug task force operations, or is that go beyond that scope?
Yeah, it is specifically for drug task force and all their seizures, drug seizures, weapons. You know, we take a lot of guns as well and other property with that, and so it's the storage of that property and processing all the evidence. That's what that's for.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Chair, I didn't hear the question addressed about the possible reduced funding request here.
Yeah, at this point in time, that is the full request. We're not going to reduce any funding on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? None, we'll move on to the Humboldt County Fire Chiefs Association.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity to speak to you folks. So I'll answer the first question first. We're not looking to reduce our ask, and I'll address that here in a second. First off, thanks for your guys' continued support. Measure Z funding continues to play a critical role in helping fire departments keep Humboldt County safe, but we can't take a voluntary cut as we have taken one every year we have been asked to take one, and the prices continue to rise. Our request this year is for $1,034,018, which combined with the automatic allocation brings the total request to $2 million. This funding supports 46 different fire, EMS, and public safety entities across the county that have pooled their needs together through the Chiefs Association. By coordinating the request this way, the committee and the Board of Supervisors are able to support a large number of departments through a single application. The funding equates to roughly $45,000 in value per agency while significantly reducing the workload on the committee, the Board of Supervisors, that would otherwise come from dozens of separate smaller applications. Another important point in this program reaches every corner of Humboldt County, from the smallest volunteer department to the largest agencies. The program also allows department to leverage funds and stretch them further through coordinated purchasing, grants, OES assignments, and shared training opportunities. For many volunteer departments, this funding is a lifeline. At the same time, it benefits larger departments and supports CR's training program, their Firefighter One Academy, and that strengthens the overall countywide response system. Recent incidents such as the Arcata fire demonstrate the critical need for well-trained volunteers who are properly outfitted with modern equipment and able to safely and effectively work alongside career departments when major incidents occur. One of the things that I noted in a lot of the photos from the Arcata fire, those were almost exclusively Measure Z turnouts. Those were almost exclusively Measure Z helmets, Measure Z boots, Measure Z hose. So if you want to know where that money goes, and I'll even give another prop to what can happen when you work together with Measure Z in your own agency. I would encourage all of you to stop by Fortuna Fire sometime and check out our training facility. In 2020, we received $386,000 for a training tower. We didn't have anywhere to put that, so we had to buy land. So Fortuna Fire spent $1.2 million to acquire land, to build the infrastructure, the water, the sewer, the electrical, to be able to accept that money. And then in 2023, we were lucky enough to get $200,000 for a training classroom. That training classroom is now installed, up and working, and since it's been installed, I've had 15 different agencies from around the county who have utilized that training facility. So when you take Measure Z money and put some of yours with it, you can really multiply what can be done with those funds. And so there's a lot of folks out there that are taking this money and also multiplying it with their own. And of those agencies, some of them has been Sheriff Hansell's folks have used it, CHP's used it, every fire agency in the valley has used it. CR's Fire Academy is currently there today using it. And what that also does for my city, because we bring all these folks into there through this Measure Z funding, they buy lunch in my town, they buy gas in my town, and so, you know, there's a win. You can really see how we can stretch this Measure Z stuff when you combine your money with your own and accomplish some great things. So I know some other folks want to say some stuff, so that's my part. And I'm Russ Brown, Fire Chief of Fortuna and the President of the Chiefs Association.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Tanner Spees. I'm with Telegraph Ridge Fire. I'm the chief there. I'm also I'm representing the South region today. So we do organize in a regional way now to try to make this process as efficient as possible so we can represent the needs of each of our areas, which are unique, but that cover the entire county. So this funding, it's not really an apples to oranges kind of comparison in these applications, I think, because as Chief Brown was saying, we represent 46 different agencies within the county. These are going to be the responders to people who are coming through the county, the visitors, the residents. So potentially, you know, this is money that's going to be impacting and benefiting people throughout the entire area. So each one of these agencies throughout the area basically serves places that sometimes don't have any other real support. There's very underfunded in a lot of the more rural districts like mine. I can tell you that our district, through a special tax, brings in about $28,000 a year. So when you think about the costs of running a fire department and emergency services right now and what that brings, I can tell you that the Measure Z funding from the past that we're sincerely grateful for is what brings to us the base level of PPE and training and stuff like equipment and apparatus repair and maintenance funding. So with that, then we are actually able to address some of our other special needs that are specific to our department. So I just want to say thank you for your support in the past. I think what you can see right now is that over the past years, the fire services in Humboldt County have been doing a really great job of coming together, working together, and are building in a really strong and positive way. And I think with the continued support that we have a really sincere, positive future ahead of us of higher quality response. Thank you.
Well, committee, thank you for having me. My name is Timothy Citro. I'm the fire chief of the Humboldt Bay Fire Authority here in Eureka. I'm not here to ask for funding or anything like that. I'm here to represent the North region for the Humboldt County Fire Chiefs Association. I've been involved in the fire service for over 30 years in this county. And since Measure Z has started, I have seen our neighboring agencies, which we rely on for mutual aid, if we have a large incident like Arcata did, which we have had in the past, their equipment, their training, their standards have all improved from that to be able to help each other, and even including me being the largest department in the county that's a full career organization and well-funded. It still doesn't mean I can handle everything on my own, and I can't. And what's great to see is better, well-equipped neighboring agencies that are all volunteer, that are willing to come help me when I need help, and I can go help them when they need help. And the fact that they now have the proper PPE and are safe, have engines that will start and be able to come help me, have fire stations to keep their engines in and get here. That is what's important for the county as a whole, and for the North region. We support each other wonderfully. We have an automatic aid agreement amongst the North region. So we help each other out, so it's not just going to individual departments. It's for the entire county-wide fire response program. And for the North, it's even very important because in the North region, you have Eureka, Arcata, the highly populated areas, that, yeah, we can handle a lot of the things on our own that some of the smaller volunteer departments can't. But when we can't, we need those small volunteer departments to help us. And since Measure Z started and been funding them completely, I've noticed it over the 30 years just how much better we're working together. The equipment is, the personnel are, the better trained they are. All these things that we put into it through Measure Z is really having an effect on the entirety of the county and the fire service that we provide. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee?
I do. Did you have one, Sue?
Go ahead.
I have to stay on my topic of immigration. And as one of the first responder agencies, often fire is one of the first on the scene. My question for you is, do you have a protocol or training in place to prevent denial of care?
That goes against everything that exists in the fire service. You know, we typically know maybe your first name if you were truthful in telling us that, and maybe your age. That's what we know about our, you know, it would just, you couldn't be a fireman and think any other way. So I'm not even really sure how to answer that question in our world because it just doesn't come into play.
I understand. It's, the questions that come up in my community, I have to give voice to.
Sue?
Does Fortuna charge for the other agencies to use the training facility?
No, well, I'm going to say no, but with a caveat, the college makes us. We tried to offer it free to the college, and their policy, so they pay a nominal fee to use it, and nobody else. We don't, on purpose. I mean, it was paid for by, whether it came from Measure Z or came from our funds, it's still paid for by taxpayer money. So no, we don't charge.
Thank you.
Do you feel that having that facility has increased the number of firefighters, especially in the volunteer fire departments?
I will guarantee it helps with retention and recruitment when you have nice facilities for people to do what they do. Sure, it attracts more people. It makes people want to stick around longer. It makes more people want to join our industry.
Thank you. And I do really appreciate the mutual aid, because I think just about every area in here has used that, and it's great to have good trained fire departments to be able to help each other. So is that all the questions that we have? Okay.
Chief Brown. First off, thank you guys for stepping up and doing this. I know there's a bunch of other chiefs, and wrangling everything isn't always the easiest. Would you speak to the increases that we've seen in apparatus costs and PPE costs since the inception of Measure Z, and how it's affected
I'll
each
start
one
with
of your
mine.
departments?
I bought my first used apparatus ever this last year because I couldn't afford to buy a new one. The last new apparatus I bought was in 2023. We paid $680,000 for it, and it took 2 years to build. That same engine, if I purchased it today, is $1.1 million and 5 years out. My ladder truck that went to Arcata, because there's only 3 of them in the county, I have one, that cost me $1.4 million in 2019. It is well over $2 million to replace that now. So, you know, when you start talking about replacing fire app, and that's why, you know, what Chief Citro said, sometimes we take care of the smaller stuff so that we can put our funds towards the things we know that we can't really afford any other way. I went from a 30-year replacement plan, and I'm on a 35 to 40-year replacement plan of trying to keep an apparatus in service now just because of how much they cost.
So in specific to the turnouts, a full set of turnouts is approximately $5,000 right now. And the new requirements for turnouts in regards to safety, cancer prevention. When I started, we used to just drop our boots by the bed and go to sleep and didn't realize they were off-gassing on us all night and causing us cancer. And so there's a lot of new initiatives. The new FPA standard is turnouts don't have to be replaced every 10 years, period. And if we get injured or hurt on a fire and we are investigated through OSHA, which we're going to be, which is mandated for any significant injury, the first thing we're going to do is check the date of our safety gear. And if it's out of compliance and over 10 years old and hasn't been replaced, we're going to be liable for that. So the cost of turnouts has gone up significantly, but the PPE itself is better than it was 30 years ago. So with the increased cost, we're getting increased protection. So they kind of go hand in hand. And I can speak to Chief Brown's dilemma with emergency vehicle replacement. You know, I'm funded by 2 parent agencies, and so my vehicle replacement program is fairly strong. But for the smaller volunteer departments, there's no difference in the apparatus that they need versus the apparatus that I need here in Eureka, none. A new Type 1 engine right now is about $1.2 million. We purchased a new aerial ladder truck 2 years ago, and obviously we use it a lot. It was $2.2 million. And that is, you know, we finance it over time and we build it into our budget. But when you have small volunteer organizations around this county that basically they don't need aerial ladder trucks and telegraph rigs, but they need Type 1 engines, that's a huge expense on them. It's a huge cost and a huge burden. And that just doesn't even go into the specialty equipment that we need now with the expansion of our mission into water, into USAR, hazardous materials, all those things that we do that we respond to. All that stuff is important. And speaking for the North, a lot of the agencies in the North, you know, they do the same things that I do, just maybe on a less frequent basis, but that doesn't matter. It's not the frequency, it's the impact that we have when we're called. So that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Thank you
Okay.
guys for your consideration.
Thank you. The next one is Department of Aviation.
Again, Justin Hotman, Director of Aviation. We're willing, again, to take third, half, whatever. We're grateful for whatever we can get. And I think I put that in our application as well. Whatever you guys can help us out with, that'd be great. It comes out of our general, or our department fund. We're a negative fund department, so just makes us more negative when we buy more stuff, so. Any questions?
Any questions? Nope. Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Uh-huh. The next one is Southern Humboldt Community Healthcare District. Okay.
Hello, thank you for having me.
First of all, the first question is, are you willing to take any reduction?
Our ask is already very measured. It's one piece of a larger cost construction project, so we would like to not take any reductions if possible.
Okay, thank you. And anybody have any questions?
I just have a brief one. Can you describe again how this application supports emergency medical response and any training that you are taking to support your ambulance service in the area?
Yeah, so currently there is a helistop at the Willits Hospital, and the next closest one is in Eureka. So by building this helistop in Garberville, we can have a point in between that could serve a wide area that's not currently able to handle rapid medical transfers at this time. And just speaking for Southern Humboldt, we haven't applied for Measure Z funding before. It's a typically kind of underfunded part of the county. And by making this investment, it'll be an infrastructure expansion that will serve for generations. And it wouldn't be an ask that we'd be making year after year.
Thank you. Any other questions?
One question, Fire Chief Nick Pape from Shelter Cove. So of course, obviously support this project. I think it's going to be great for a long time. I was a little confused on the time frame of when these funds would be put to use for the electrical equipment, and I was hoping you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, so the helistop will be constructed at the same time as the new hospital that we're constructing. So those plans are in progress, and we're planning to have the entire new facility open by 2030. So we would be using these funds as part of the larger construction costs for the new hospital as well.
Go ahead.
So to follow up on that, could you request these funds at a later time because you're not actually going to spend them within the next year and a half?
We are planning to break ground next year, early next year. So we're trying to gather all of our funding now so that we're ready when the time comes to start construction.
Anybody else have a question? Okay, I don't know if I understood you correctly. You said these funds will be used for other things also besides the helistop or the helistop spot?
Yeah, so a helistop is a type of, it's like a helipad, but it's just a different aviation classification. So this is going to be a landing pad where helicopters can land at the hospital and do rapid medical transfers. So we're not just building a standalone helistop. It'll be on the same site as the new hospital to be constructed. So the Measure Z funding would be directed directly towards the construction of the helistop, but it'll be part of a larger, one piece of a larger project.
Okay, so the full funds from this actually go to the helistop or what is it? Hellespont.
Yes, we would earmark it and restrict this Measure Z funding to just be directed towards the cost of building the helistop, yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then, let's see, the last one is, how do you say that exactly? Kamau Medical Center.
Ryan Zumwalt, CEO for Kamau Medical Center. I have a quick question for Sean. Sean, original so our reduction, we'd like to ask for a little over 245,000 on that. So if we're looking at expenses, one of the asks from the last board, we run little over 900,000 in expenses. We get about 170,000 in return in third-party revenue. The rest is funded through Measure Z in part that we got last year. Last year we took a reduction of 125,000 in Measure Z. Many departments got that back. We didn't. We wound up having to make that up out of our own reserves. So with that being said, even with this additional funds and our third party, we would still be looking to find other sources of funding around $200,000+ for us. And we are working with the Yurok tribe, we're working with Trinity County, and we're reaching out for any other grants or funds to be able to bridge that gap, so that way we do stay viable within the Willow Creek area. Okay. Any questions?
Any questions from?
Yes, I have one. Have you checked with the California Office of Rural Health, because they were recently awarded, $233 million for rural health care, which sounds very familiar with some of the items you're looking for here. Have you reached out to them and got any response there?
Reach out with our grants compliance. When the question came across, they have the message out to them and they're putting in the application. So that is one area where we're looking to see if we can pull some funds to help bridge that gap too.
I do have one remaining question. It's the same overall topic of my previous questions, but I'm curious and want to ask, do you have any policies or training for your EMTs or for your ambulance drivers to prevent denial of care in the potential event of an ICE or Customs Border Protection operation in the area?
So that training and care actually runs with EMTALA laws. Federal laws state that anybody in emergency care, we are required to give them care, no matter of payment, nationality, immigration, anything along that line. We have to give them care and bring them to the nearest tertiary facility.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, that completes all of our applicants, so now we'll go out to public comment. Does anybody in the public have a comment on any of these items? Yeah. Is there any on Zoom? No? Okay, we'll close public comment and start our ranking of the applications.
All right, thank you, Chair. So the way that this will work is that I will go through each application and I will ask committee members to raise their hands, letting me know if they rank this application as a number 1 priority, number 2 priority, or number 3 priority. To be clear, number 1 priority is the most valuable. We have a point system that we use to determine the ultimate rankings. After this is done, I'm going to work with our staff to make sure that we have the right count. I'm not going to put the count on the live count on the page. After it's done, then I'll present it on the screen for you all to see. But that is the way that this is going to work. So when I go to an application, please raise your hand for the value of the application. Please raise your hand when that piece comes up.
I do have a quick question. Did you have one, Ginger?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, you can go.
So did you were keeping track of everybody's voluntary. Do you have a total?
Yes.
I think I need to know that.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Campbell. So the total amount requested now if everybody took the reductions that they mentioned in their comments, is 1.978 million. That means that we are 328,000 over the amount of funding available.
That's good. All right.
My question, I think, Sean, or for the committee is, and I'll use the example, the teen court application mentioned that they could take a reduction of $5,000, but it would heavily hamper their program. I'm wondering if there's a way for us to say, no, we don't want to take that.
I actually was going to ask, when we get to each one, are we going to vote for that with or without the reductions? And see.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so the first one is Fortuna Police Department. And so we need a count from the committee on, are we going with or without the reduction? So can I do this? So I'll raise our hand for everybody that says with and then without. And is that a way to do that?
That's fine.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just make up the rules as we go?
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
And to be clear, we won't do public comment on each of these
Yes.
items. These are called straw votes. At the end, when we have this ranking sheet done, then we'll have a motion and a second public comment to approve this sheet as we're developing it.
Okay. So do we have any discussion on this one before we vote? So we're voting on reducing this application $20,000. So everybody in favor, raise their hand. Okay, that one passes. So we can do 1, 2, 3 on that one with a reduction of 20,000.
Yep, so please go ahead and raise your hand if this, if you have this rated as a number 1. See 7. Please raise your hand if this is rated as a number 2. I see 2, and that's 9 total. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is the Boys and Girls Club of the Redwoods. And are we going to vote? They have a $5,000 reduction, but it would make it hard for them. So are we voting with the reduction? Everybody raise your hand. Are we voting without the reduction? Okay, we're voting without the reduction on that one.
Okay, please raise your hand if this is rated number 1 for you. See 5. Please raise your hand if it's number 2. I see 4, and that's 9.
Okay, the next one is the Department of Aviation, and they volunteered to take half off. So are we voting for this with a reduction? Raise your hand. Okay, that's all of us.
Okay, and so the new value of this application with that reduction is $34,414. Please raise your hand if this is a number 1 for you. I see 2. Please raise your hand if it's number 2. I see 1. And please raise your hand if it's number 3. I see 6. And that's 9. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is Hoopa Valley Tribal Police. And let's see, they volunteered to take a reduction of $16,275. So everybody raise your hand if you're voting with the reduction.
Okay, so the value of this application remains at $84,507.
Okay.
Please raise your hand if this is a number 1 for you. I see 5. Please raise your hand if this is number 2. I see 4, and that's 9. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is the Arcata Police Department, and they have no reduction.
All right, please raise your hand if this is number 1. I see 2. Please raise your hand if it's number 2. I see 2 more. And raise your hand if it's number 3. I see 5. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is North Coast Rape Crisis, and they volunteered to take a reduction of 32,000. So are we voting for it with the reduction? Raise your hand. Without the reduction, raise your hand.
All right. So the value of this application remains $57,900. Please raise your hand if this is number 1 for you. I see 8. Please raise your hand if it's number 2. And I see 1. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is Humboldt County Drug Task Force, no reduction.
Please raise your hand if this is number 1 for you. I see 7. Raise your hand if it's a number 2. I see 2. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is Humboldt County Fire Chiefs Association, no reduction.
Please raise your hand for number 1. I see 7. Please raise your hand for number 2. I see 2. Thank you.
The next one is Department of Aviation for turnout gears, and they volunteered to take a half reduction. Are we voting for this? Raise your hand if you're voting for this with the reduction.
All right, so the new value of this application is $11,669. Please raise your hand if this is the number 1. I see 4. Thank you. Please raise your hand if it's a number 2. I see 1. And please raise your hand if this is number 3. I see 4. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is Southern Humboldt Community Healthcare District.
This value is $29,000. Please raise your hand for number 1. I see 1. Please raise your hand for number 2. I see 6. Please raise your hand for number 3. I see 2. Thank you.
And the next one is Kamal Medical Center with the reduction of, is there a reduction 325?
That's correct. So the value of this application is $245,914. Please raise your hand for number 1. I see 6. Please raise your hand for number 2. I see 3, and that's 9.
Okay, so that's all of our applicants. So do we do public comment on this part now, or?
Not yet, Chair. If I could just have like a 5-minute recess while me and staff go over this. We'll do some mathing over here, and we'll come back to you and let you know
Okay,
where we're
we'll do
at.
a 5-minute recess.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, please do.
All right. Thank you, Chair. So I'll go ahead and share my screen if that pops up. So the rankings are as such. We had North Coast Rape Crisis Team first, followed by Fortuna Police, DTF, Fire Chiefs Association, and Kamau Medical Center. This column here shows the amount, the running total. If the committee were to forward this recommendation to the board as is, the funding would last through application number 14. So these top 6 applications would receive funding. North Coast Rape Crisis Team, Fortuna Police, Drug Task Force, Fire Chiefs Association, and Kamau Medical Center, leaving us short the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 applications.
Okay. So do we want to present this to the Board of Supervisors as is?
Can I ask a clarifying question? So the numbers that you run now, the 1.6, could that number change by the time the board allocates?
That 1.65 number is set.
Okay.
That's how much we have available to fund this year.
Okay.
Okay.
So I want to say something. I just want to tell people in the audience that if you didn't get funded, you can still go to the Board of Supervisors meeting during budget. We've had that happen a lot, where people go and present your program, and they do magic with the numbers. But don't be discouraged, because if you're close to that line, it's possible that, you know, if you have a supervisor that's strong with you or something, be sure to go and ask, okay? Because that's a really important thing for you to know that's your right to do. Okay.
Anybody else from the committee have any?
Can I just ask, where did application number 5 land in the lineup, the Arcata?
That is down here at the bottom. Second to the bottom.
Anything online?
No. Do we want to go out to public comment, Chair?
Okay, do we have public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment. So are we to make a motion to whether to accept this and send it forward?
Exactly.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion?
I move we move the current ranking applications to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a first and second. Do we do all in favor, raise your hand?
Okay, passes 9-0. We will send this to the board, and I would expect sometime in April, probably late April, that this item will come to the board. We'll make sure to let your committee know, and we'll let applicants know when this item is headed to the board.
Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned.